So you've come up, you've got the Fitbit, you start to understand the data tracking, you start to understand the things you can do to make changes in your life, and you're kind of getting through that turning point once you started. I mean, you talked about walking, a million mile, I think it was a million miles or a million
Not quite.
steps. A million, well, so
Um,
reiterate
yeah.
that part of the story.
So yeah. So basically, I was just as surprised as anybody when I looked at that 6 months and I saw 1,000 miles. I mean, who would have ever thought that I could walk 1,000 miles just doing what I normally do? It was insane. But that was 6 months in, and it's like, I have another 6 months. I can try for, mm, 1,200 miles for the next 6 months. Um, so really, what it became was, okay, these are baby steps. Where else can I go with this? How else can I do it? And so the first year I walked 2,000 miles. The second year I walked 3,000 miles. And last year, which was my third year, which ended in November, I walked 3,500 miles. Okay. And I'm 52 years old. Okay. I have chronic back issues that, I have back spasms all over the place. The way that I have been able to manage them is the only time I sit down in my day, because I'm standing when I'm working on the computer, I'm standing when I'm walking, all this stuff. The only times I sit down are to eat and go to the bathroom. Those are the only two times that I sit down. And I have no pain, I have no aches, I have nothing. Like my legs, my ankles, my knees, nothing. And maybe that's because I'm only walking 1 to 1.5 miles an hour on my walking desk or whatever, but it doesn't matter. By doing, you're strengthening your body, you're building your resistance, your immune system's healthier. All these things are healthier. Um, so that's kind of where it went, and I'm going to try and go even further than 3,500 miles this next year. So it just, instead of it being, it's amazing. Instead of it being action one, action two, action three that I have to do to be able to get to this point, at this point in time, everything I do is completely natural. I don't even think about it, and it's irrelevant.
It's because it's turned
So
into a habit.
that's where you want to get to.
Yeah, it's because
Right.
it's turned into a habit
A
for you.
lifestyle.
It's yeah, a lifestyle. It's your new normal. I mean, when we always talk about the hero's journey, and a number of guests who've come on who've definitely taken it deeper, like you have. Part of the reason why I've really boiled down a hero's journey to the beginning, the turning point, and the aftermath is because those are like the three big milestones, and the aftermath really becomes,
Yeah.
your new normal, and that's the reason I was explaining that is because, as you know, in the hero's journey, eventually you get to the new normal, then you go back and you help other people, which is what you're doing today.
Right.
But that's really the
Right.
key for a lot of people is getting to that new normal, and getting to the point where the new normal feels better than the old normal. So for you, I mean, does your new normal of using a standing desk, of using a walking desk and walking while you're working and doing other things, I mean, does your new normal feel better than your old normal?
Oh my God, yes. Of course. I mean, there are a whole bunch of issues. So first of all, I don't have a choice. I mean, if you made me sit at a desk, I would go crazy. I couldn't do it anymore. I have to be moving. So, one of the things that I always had is about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd basically face plant on my desk out of, exhaustion or boredom or something. First of all, you can't do that on a walking desk because it's a little more dangerous. No, but the
Just a
truth of the matter is, I
smidge.
don't need to. I
Yeah.
don't need to because, my heart is pumping blood throughout my system all the time. And my focus, I'm very much into technology. I have my iPhone, I have this, I have that, I have this. But when I am on the walk desk and I'm working on something, I'm like 1,000% into it, and I'm moving, and blood's flowing, and I'm creative, and it's a whole, it's like a superpower. It's just amazing. And there have been a couple of times my wife and my wife had to go to a convention in Las Vegas, so I went with her, and I walked to a co working space, and walked back to the hotel at the end of the day, and I looked at my Fitbit, and it was 21 miles. It's like, oh, I walked 21 miles today.
Wow.
Fine. I mean, I was a little sore, but nothing much, you
Yeah.
know. And it's like it's just no effort. It's nothing. And while I'm walking, I'm thinking, or I'm listening to podcasts or whatever. Uh, and it's so normal and so natural. And at 52, there are a lot of people my age that are slowing down, and feeling like they're slowing down. And I'm just, there's nothing I can't do,
Well, and I think that's a great place to wrap up and to start to wrap up the hero's journey, because in the end, it's all about getting to that new normal. In the end, what feels scary now is what's going
right?
to feel normal later on, because our brains want to
Absolutely.
keep us safe. Our brains were made in a way so that when change happens, we're afraid of it. This is biological. This is in us from day one. This is in our DNA, because back in the day, the brain was what kept you safe. When we were hunter gatherers, you had to make split second decisions. If you saw an animal or if you saw a person, was that a friend or a foe, and what did you have to do? So we were bred, so to speak, to fear change. And once you
Hmm.
realize that you can make small changes and you can continue to move that forward, and realize that when you get through the block, your new normal becomes much more comfortable, and you never want to go back to the old normal, and realize that what appears to be painful today is something that's going to feel normal, and your old normal is going to appear to be painful tomorrow.
That's
It just takes
a
little
very good
baby
point.
steps.
A
Thank
very
you.
good point. Yeah, it, it's we as individuals need to get out of the way of ourselves. And I see it so many times, and I've been in the way of myself too. Um, and there were days when I had a crappy day, and I instead of going to bed, I'd watch a couple of TV shows until 2 in the morning, and then I'd go to bed and get up the next day and feel even worse. And it's like, whoa, what the hell is this? I'm getting away here, you
Yeah.
know, by starting again and being smarter about it, going to sleep and getting some exercise, and then you feel great the next day and you can do anything. So we get in the way of ourselves, and that's really what a lot of this is about, is giving yourself permission to move out of the way and
Exactly.
let let yourself go forward.
Exactly.
So
So right now, I think we're going to get out of our own way, and I'm going to wrap up so we
okay,
can actually get to
nice
the
nice segue.
yeah, exactly. So we can actually get to the experts focus segment. So, folks, today
Yeah.
we have on this show Paul Michaels, and you've heard all about his hero's journey. How somebody who has been, was somebody who I would classify as relatively active. I mean, anybody who takes care of a house and who's a stay-at-home parent with a business, is going to be fairly active. But how he got to a point in his life where he realized that something needed change, and the magical piece of metal fell out of the sky. You'll have to watch the rest of the episode to figure out what that magical piece of metal was. That magical piece of metal fell out of the sky, and he started making small changes, and eventually has made what I'll call it appears to be major wholesale life changes. And remember, while those changes might be scary at the beginning, if you realize that baby steps will get you there, and realize that once that becomes your new normal, it's a lot less scary than your old normal. You realize that what Paul has to tell you in his hero's journey, even just what he has to tell you in his hero's journey, is going to help make you a success. So we're going to take a very, very quick break, pay a couple bills, so to speak, take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into Paul's expert focus segment, where he's going to talk to you all about fueling your success in life with wellness. So stick around, and we'll be right back. To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video.
Do it now. You'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.